In the shadows of the Nevada desert, Commander Elias Thorne whispered, his voice like a blade in the dry wind. "Touch that Barrett M82 and you're dead." No drama, no raised tone, just a cold fact, delivered as casually as ordering coffee. But in the hellfire of Korengal Valley, Afghanistan, when bullets rained and lives hung by threads, Aisha Kane, the dark-skinned medic everyone dismissed, reached for the gun. And the eagle tattoo etched across her back would unleash a deadly secret about her father. One that could shatter the team forever. The warning lingered in Aisha's mind like dust in the air, thick and unrelenting. At the makeshift outpost on the edge of the Nevada training grounds, the Barrett M82 50 BMG sniper rifle lay draped in rough camo cloth, perched beside stacked supply crates. This beast of a weapon, with its 30-pound recoil that could bruise a shoulder like a hammer blow, was designed for anti-material shots, punching through engine blocks or armored vehicles from up to 1,800 meters away. It wasn't for medics. Especially not one like Aisha, a 28-year-old woman of color whose presence in the elite SEAL team felt like an unwelcome shadow to some. Aisha moved with quiet precision across the sun-baked earth, her combat boots laced tight, her dark skin glistening under the relentless heat. A small scar on her wrist caught the light, a remnant from a childhood fall, but it was nothing compared to the invisible wounds she carried. Born in a modest neighborhood near the Marine base in 29 Palms, she'd grown up in a home where air conditioning was a luxury, but resilience was a necessity. Her mother, a part-time librarian, kept the family afloat with quiet determination. Her father, Jamal Kane, a former Delta Force operator of African-American descent, had been her world, a man who could field-strip a rifle blindfolded while telling stories of eagles soaring above storms. "The eagle flies on resilient wings," he'd say, his deep voice echoing as he taught her to aim tin cans in the backyard. But after his training accident, an explosion that left only a folded flag and unanswered questions, everything changed. Aisha turned inward, choosing medicine over combat, vowing to heal the broken instead of breaking them. Yet whispers of her father's legacy followed her. "She's got sniper eyes, but she's too soft, too different." In the SEAL team, prejudice wasn't shouted, it simmered. Aisha was the little sister, the one they patted on the back but never trusted with more than bandages. When she suggested upgrading medical kits for desert ops, adding saline for dehydration in 120-degree heat, or antibiotics tailored to sand-borne infections, Thorne waved her off. "Stick to patching, Kane. You're not here to play soldier." Later, when she requested cross-training with the sniper unit to better understand tactics, laughter erupted. Rico, a burly white sniper with a smirk like a loaded chamber, quipped, "Dark skin like yours is only good for wiping blood, not shooting. Give you a Barrett, and you'd probably sterilize it first." The jabs cut deep, echoing the systemic barriers her father had faced, barriers that, rumor had it, contributed to his end. But Aisha didn't fight back. She bowed her head, took notes, and trained in secret. After shifts, she'd disassemble med kits with the precision of cleaning a rifle bolt. From her bunk, she'd measure distances to the window, calculating wind drift like a firing range. No one knew about the wooden box under her bed, a worn relic containing her father's ballistics notebook, a torn sniper glove, and a faded photo of him under an oak tree, eagle patch on his uniform gleaming. If you've ever faced prejudice, comment resilient to support Aisha. That eagle tattoo on her back, inked after her enlistment, was her silent rebellion, a symbol of freedom rising above chains. She got it after a drill where she anonymously rerouted a supply path on a sim map, averting a mock ambush. No credit came. Instead, more mockery. "Women of color don't belong on the front line," someone muttered. But Aisha observed, learned, waited. "The eagle flies on resilient wings," her father's voice reminded her in quiet moments. The team buzzed with routine chaos, helicopter rotors thumping, radios crackling, half-hearted banter masking the tension of impending deployment. Aisha paused near the Barrett, her gaze lingering. No one noticed a medic eyeing a sniper rifle, not until her fingers brushed the stock, a forbidden touch that could end her career. But in that instant, a plume of smoke rose from the simulation valley, gunfire echoing, and the secret in her father's wooden box would change everything. The smoke from the convoy rose like a dark omen, twisting into the Nevada sky as simulated gunfire cracked through the air. But this wasn't just a drill anymore. The team had been greenlit for a real deployment, escorting a vital supply convoy through Korengal Valley, Afghanistan. Known as the Valley of Death from historical ambushes during the Afghan War, Korengal was a sniper's nightmare. Narrow canyons, jagged ridges, and Taliban fighters who blended into the rocks like ghosts. In 2008 alone, U.S. forces faced relentless attacks there, with IEDs and RPGs turning routine patrols into bloodbaths. Now, Aisha's unit was tasked with securing the route against similar threats, their recon UAVs already vulnerable to enemy electronic countermeasures, ECM, jamming signals that could blind the drones mid-flight, scrambling GPS and comms in seconds. Aisha's earpiece buzzed with static as the alert came in. Convoy under fire. Lead sniper down. Repeat. Primary gunners pinned. She froze beside the Barrett, her hand hovering. From her vantage at the outpost edge, she could see the terrain monitor flickering. A perfect line of sight to the ridge, 1,200 meters out, where enemy positions loomed. Wind drifting left at 4 miles per hour, elevation drop calculable. She had the eyes for it, the calculations etched in her mind from her father's notebook. But touching the rifle? That was crossing Thorne's line, risking expulsion in a team that already saw her as an outsider. Resilient breath overcomes the desert wind, her father's words echoed, a mantra from those backyard sessions where he'd taught her to steady her pulse against gusts. Yet doubt clawed at her. Memories of her mother's plea after his death. Don't chase ghosts, Aisha, not with your skin in this world. She hesitated, turning back to the med tent, where screams of the wounded from the sim echoed. Frustration boiled as reports flooded in. A teammate, Marcus, a fellow dark-skinned operator, took a hit in the chaos, bleeding out because support was delayed. Why no Overwatch? Someone radioed. Lack of trust, Aisha knew. The White Leads had dismissed her earlier warnings about ECM vulnerabilities, chalking it up to overcautious medic talk. She clenched her fist, the eagle tattoo flexing under her shirt. This wasn't just a mission, it was a call to prove them wrong. She turned away, but the scream of a dark-skinned teammate being shot stopped her. Who leaked the position? The scream pierced the air like a jagged blade, freezing Aisha in her tracks. Marcus's voice, raw, desperate, cut through the radio static. I'm hit! God, it's bad! Her fellow dark-skinned operator, the one who'd shared quiet nods of solidarity in a team rife with division, now lay exposed in the valley's kill zone. Who leaked the position? The question gnawed at her, a seed of doubt blooming into paranoia. Was it incompetence or something darker? Prejudice turning fatal? Aisha's hand trembled near the Barrett, the weight of Thorne's warning crashing down. Expulsion, disgrace, the end of her fragile foothold in this world. Internal turmoil surged, a storm of memories agitating her resolve. She flashed back to her first week in sniper quals at the Nevada base where she'd aced the prelim sims, calculating bullet drop with pinpoint accuracy, adjusting for 5 miles per hour crosswinds like her father had drilled into her. But when review came, Thorne's voice echoed in the debrief. Kane, you're out. We need operators who fit the profile, reliable under fire. The room had gone silent, Rico smirking from the corner. Profile? She'd pressed, heart pounding. You mean white and male? No direct answer, just shuffled papers and averted eyes. Excluded because of her skin color, her gender, the same barriers that had shadowed her father's career, turning whispers into walls. Frustration built like heat in the desert, choking her. How many times had she patched up the real soldiers, only to be sidelined? Marcus's scream amplified it, another person of color paying the price for systemic blind spots. She touched her back instinctively, feeling the eagle tattoo through her fatigues. It awakened, a phantom itch, as if the ink were alive, urging her forward. But doubt clawed deeper, pulling her into the abyss of her father's accident. In the wooden box tucked away in her quarters, his last letter hinted at more than misfortune. Watch your back, Aisha. Not everyone's on our side. The mishap wasn't random. Insiders played dirty. A minor twist in her mind? Was it an insider then, like now? Prejudice masking as error? PTSD gripped her, visions of the explosion that took him, the folded flag on her bed, her mother's tears. Promise me you'll heal, not fight, her mother had begged. This world chews up people like us. Aisha nearly buckled, knees weakening. Taking the Barrett meant breaking that promise, inviting the same fate. resilient breath. But what if it wasn't enough? The radio crackled again. Marcus is down. We need Overwatch now. Aisha nearly gives up, but Vance whispers over the comms. You have sniper eyes, don't let prejudice win. Vance's whisper crackled through the comms, a lifeline in the chaos. You have sniper eyes, don't let prejudice win. Aisha paused, her breath steadying as memories flooded in. Her father, Jamal, emerged as her eternal mentor, the man who'd turned dusty ranges into classrooms. Focus on the basics, he'd say, sketching equations in the sand. Bullet drop equals g/2, where g is gravity, 9.8 ms per square, t is time of flight. For a 1,200-meter shot at 800 ms per second muzzle velocity, t 1.5 fs, drop 11 maybe, adjust elevation accordingly. He'd made her practice with tin cans, wind whipping. Resilient breath overcomes the desert wind. Vance, her unlikely ally, chimed in again. I've seen you train after hours, Kane, disassembling kits like rifles. You're ready. He'd caught her once, measuring ranges in the dark, but kept her secret. Now, his trust bridged the gap. The eagle fears no wind, but what secret does Thorn know about her father? The eagle fears no wind, but what secret does Thorn know about her father? The question burned in Aisha's mind, fueling her resolve. Vance's words echoed, You're ready. No more hesitation. She slung her med bag over her shoulder, slipping her father's torn glove and old scope into a pocket. A force of habit, a tether to the past. The threshold loomed, the open expanse between the outpost and the ridge, a no-man's land of scorching sand and jagged rocks in the simulated Korengal terrain. But this felt real, the heat blistering her skin, dust storms whipping like vengeful spirits. Aisha dashed out, heart pounding in resilient breath like an eagle in flight. The desert tested her immediately. Winds howling at 10 miles per hour, visibility dropping to mere meters in the swirling haze. Sharp stones sliced her palms as she crawled up the incline, her dark fatigues blending with shadows but marking her as a target. Bullets whizzed past, near-miss shots from enemy positions in the sim, but the adrenaline made it visceral. One grazed her sleeve, tearing fabric and exposing her eagle tattoo, its inked wings seeming to spread in defiance. Symbol of strength, inked after her exclusion from quals, now bared like a battle cry. Frustration escalated. Why her? The team had radios. Why no cover? Whispers of prejudice gnawed. Let the medic handle it. Expendable. She pressed on, navigating Korengal's infamous choke points, narrow passes where historical ambushes had claimed lives, funneled by cliffs that amplified echoes. Sweat stung her eyes, but she adjusted. Low crawl, breath control, just as Jamal taught. Finally, cresting the ridge, she spotted the Barrett M82 abandoned amid spent casings, dust-caked but lethal. Her fingers closed around it, the cold metal a forbidden thrill. But the radio crackled. Enemies advancing, flanking the convoy. Panic in voices. Who leaked? The insider question hit harder now, a knot of betrayal amid the storm. Enemies advancing, flanking the convoy. The radio's urgent crackle jolted Aisha as she gripped the Barrett M82, its dust-covered frame heavy in her hands. Prone on the ridge, she peered through her old scope, heart racing. The Korengal simulation blurred into reality. Taliban-like figures, actors in the drill, but armed with blanks that stung like accusations. Maneuvered on the ridge opposite, RPG launchers glinting in the sun. External threats loomed large, rockets arcing toward the pinned convoy below, explosions blooming like deadly flowers. But the real war raged multi-layered. Outside enemies firing, internal prejudices festering, and her own demons whispering defeat. Vance's voice cut in over comms, her ally in the storm. Kane, you're in position. Take the shot if you can. I've got your back. He'd always been the outlier, a white operator who'd seen beyond her skin, respecting her quiet competence. But Rico's snarl followed. A medic on sniper duty? Hell no. Stay put, Kane. Your kind's better at mopping up messes. Internal agitation spiked, Rico's prejudice refusing support, his words a refusal to relay her chords or provide spotter intel. My kind? Aisha muttered, frustration boiling. How many times had racism like this cost lives? It echoed her father's warnings. They'll undermine you subtly, Aisha. Stay vigilant. As RPG fire intensified, Aisha's mind fractured into PTSD flashbacks, her father's death replaying in vivid horror. The accident, an explosion during Delta Ops, officially a misfire, but his letter hinted at sabotage. Insiders play dirty, he'd written. Now, Vance whispered a minor twist. Kane, I suspect Thorn leaked the position. Heard him on a private channel earlier, traitor? Misdirection hit hard. Aisha's trust shattered, thinking her commander a betrayer. But deeper, it fueled doubt. Was this prejudice reborn? Old biases dooming the team? She shook it off, focusing on allies below. Marcus groaned over radio. Bleeding out. Need evac. External pressure mounted as Taliban figures closed in, but Aisha leaped into action, sliding down the ridge amid near-miss shots. Multi-layered challenges converged, dodging bullets while navigating prejudice's minefield. Reaching Marcus, she tore open her med bag, administering tourniquet and fluids under fire. "Hang on," she urged, her dark hands steady despite the chaos. Vance radioed encouragement. "Good work. Now get back up there." But as she stabilized him, Rico's voice mocked. "See? That's all you're good for, cleaning up after real soldiers." Maximum frustration erupted. Aisha's face burned, the jab cutting deeper than any wound. Why save a team that despised her? The eagle tattoo itched, a reminder of resilience, but the agitation nearly broke her. Pushing through, she climbed back, allies like Vance her thin lifeline against enemies external and internal. The tests piled on, wind shifting, visibility dropping, PTSD whispering, "You're just like him, doomed." Yet she racked the bolt, aligning the scope. First practice shot. Aim at a mock RPG nest, 800 meter out. Pull the trigger. The Barrett roared, 30-pound recoil slamming her shoulder like a freight train. Pain exploded, nearly breaking bone. She gasped, eagle tattoo hurting. As if the ink recoiled too. Failure stung. Shot wide, dust kicking up harmlessly. "Told you," Rico sneered over comms. Agitation peaked, prejudice validated, her body betraying her under the weapon's force. But education from her father's notebook kicked in. The muzzle brake, that vented device reducing recoil by 50%, redirecting gases. Aisha adjusted her stance, prone position, bipod firm, breath controlled. Resilient breath like an eagle in flight, she looped the mantra. Second attempt. Calculate drop. GT equals 1s at 800 meters per velocity, drift 4.9 meter. Wind 6 miles per hour right. Fire. This time, the shot connected, shattering the mock launcher. Success surged, agitation turning to grim determination. Vance cheered, "That's it, Kane." But Rico grumbled, enemies advanced and the leak's shadow loomed. The series of challenges forged her, allies bolstering, enemies testing, internal storms raging. As Taliban figures regrouped, Aisha fired again, hitting a machine gun nest. PTSD flashed. Father's voice, "Fight through the pain." Vance's suspicion of Thorne twisted deeper. He's holding back intel. Traitor for sure. Misdirection clouded judgment, but she pressed on, saving another teammate from afar. Frustration layered with triumph, the battlefield a crucible. If this prejudice shocks you, comment Eagle to stand with Aisha. Yet the tests escalated. Rico outright refused to confirm targets, his bias a direct sabotage. "Handle it yourself, medic." External fire intensified, RPGs whistling close, forcing evasive rolls. Internal demons peaked in a full flashback. Jamal's explosion, flames engulfing him, whispers of, "He didn't fit the profile." Aisha's hands shook, but Vance allied. "Ignore Rico, I've got your wind reads." Together they neutralized threats, her shots precise despite the chaos. Mini-climax built as she saved a white teammate pinned by fire, bandaging under suppressive shots. But mockery followed. "Lucky save, don't get ideas above your station." Frustration maxed, tears stinging, but she climbed higher, proving worth through action. Then the second mini-climax. Another practice under duress, recoil slamming again. Shoulder screaming, eagle hurting, but muzzle brake knowledge saved her. Adjust, fire, success. Education empowered, agitation fueling fire. Aisha is ready, but the desert wind shifts and Thorne radios, "Stop." Thorne's commands slice through the radio like a whip. "Stop! Kane, stand down. That's an order." His voice, laced with authority and something sharper, disdain, halted Aisha mid-breath. Ready she was, the Barrett balanced in her grip, muzzle brake adjusted, scope zeroed. But the desert wind shifted viciously, gusting sand into her eyes, turning the ridge into a blinding inferno. Heat soared to 50 degrees Celsius, the kind that baked bones and blurred visions, Korengal's infamous furnace amplifying every doubt. Agitation mounted. Why stop now? Was Thorne protecting the team or protecting his prejudices? The leak, Vance's suspicion of betrayal, twisted like a knife, suggesting her commander saw her as a liability, not an asset. She nearly collapsed then, knees buckling under the dual assault of environment and exclusion. Physical toll first, sweat-drenched fatigues clinging like chains, dehydration clawing her throat despite the saline packs in her medbag. But the real collapse was internal. prejudice's weight crushing her spirit. Flashback hit hard. That Nevada qual room again, Thorne's dismissal vivid. "You don't fit," he'd said, eyes skimming her dark skin, her gender, as if they were defects. Rico and others nodding, their silence complicit. "We can't risk the team on diversity experiments." Excluded, sidelined, her sniper potential buried under layers of bias. Frustration peaked. How many doors slammed because of her color? Her father's face flickered. Jamal, fighting the same battles in Delta, his accident a convenient cover for systemic sabotage. "They'll break you subtly," he'd warned. Now it felt prophetic, agitation boiling into rage. She was saving them, yet they halted her? Plot knot tightened as the radio erupted. "We lost another. Johnson's down. No Overwatch, damn it." A teammate dead, felled by an RPG in the chaos below. Internal prejudice the culprit. Rico's refusal to support her earlier had delayed her shots, leaving the convoy exposed. "If we'd trusted the medic," someone muttered, but blame shifted elsewhere. Buksuk maxed. Aisha's fists clenched, tears mixing with sweat. A white operator gone because of biases against her? The leak's shadow loomed larger. Was Thorne's stop part of it? Old grudges dooming the team? Enemies external closed in. Taliban figures scaling the opposite ridge, their movements calculated, RPGs reloaded. Allies like Vance pleaded, "Kane, ignore him, push on." But enemies internal, prejudice's ghosts, whispered surrender. She nearly did, body slumping against a rock, heat waves distorting the valley. PTSD resurfaced, Jamal's explosion replaying, flames consuming him, her childhood shattered. "Promise you'll heal," her mother echoed. Collapse imminent, wind howling mockery. But then, loop of her father's words rallied. Resilient breath overcomes the desert wind. She inhaled deeply, eagle tattoo pulsing like a heartbeat. No more victim, warrior. She stood, defying Thorne's order, the plot knot fueling fire. Multi-layered agony, heat-sapping strength, prejudice eroding will, enemies aiming. Yet she climbed higher, bipod deployed, calculating, wind now 8 miles per hour left, elevation 600 meters drop. The ridge summit neared, but collapse teased, dizziness from heat, flashbacks blurring focus. Johnson's death echoed, "Because of us," Vance radioed, agitation shared. Internal enemies, Rico's bias had cost a life, not tightening the noose. She rallied again, resilient breath, father's mantra, a lifeline. External threats peaked, silhouettes on the horizon, rifles trained. She climbs the ridge, but enemies aim. Will her father's secret save her? She climbs the ridge, but enemies aim. Will her father's secret save her? Bullets zipped past Aisha's head, kicking up sand in lethal puffs as Taliban silhouettes locked on from 800 meters across the valley. Her breath ragged, resilient despite the heat's vice grip. She hunkered behind a boulder. Barrett clutched like a lifeline. The Korengal simulation had escalated into a nightmare drill, blanks replaced by the raw terror of potential failure. Agitation crested, near-death frustration mounting as Thorne's stop order echoed, a betrayal that could doom them all. Vance radioed desperately, "Kane, they're closing, take the shot." But Rico's silence was damning, his prejudice a wall blocking support. How many more would die because of it? Enemies advanced, RPG tubes shouldering up, external threats merging with internal fractures. Aisha's mind raced to her father's secret, the letter's hints of insiders now manifesting in Thorne's halt. Was he the leak, sabotaging like those WW2 tales her father shared? Historical basis rooted deep. During World War II, racial discrimination against people of color in the military, black soldiers like the Tuskegee Airmen or segregated units, led to denied promotions, hazardous assignments, and covered-up accidents. Jamal had faced echoes in Delta, prejudice whispering sabotage. Frustration boiled. Aisha suit chit here exposed on the ridge, wind now steady at 5 miles per hour left, distance to targets 1,200 meters. A near miss grazed her helmet, agitation peaking, heart slamming, PTSD flaring with visions of Jamal's explosion. "Not like this," she growled, eagle tattoo burning under her torn sleeve. Then, the major twist shattered the chaos. Thorne's Humvee roared up the flank, skidding to a halt below her position. He leaped out, Barrett spare in hand. No, his personal M82 customized with engravings. "Kane," he bellowed, climbing with grim determination. Enemies fired, but he pressed on, handing her the rifle. Title's pivotal moment, his grip firm on hers. "Take it. I knew your father. Jamal was the best, sniper eyes like yours, but prejudice, it killed him." Revelation hit like recoil. Thorne admitted his role in the past, old biases in Delta leading to Jamal's hazardous assignment, the accident a cover for systemic racism. I waved off warnings, thought he didn't fit. Cost him his life. Don't let it cost yours, or ours. Shock rippled through Aisha, agitation transforming. Frustration at betrayal, but a flicker of understanding. Thorne, grizzled veteran, eyes haunted, bore two echoes in his family's military history, now confronting his ghosts. Prove me wrong, he urged, handing over ammo. The eagle flies during shots, she thought, loop igniting as she racked the bolt. Solution started from near-death despair to empowered action. First shot, wind 5 miles per hour, 1,200 meters to RPG wielder. Calculate, muzzle velocity 853 meters per sec, time of flight 1.4x, bullet drop GT required 2 is 9.6 meters. Adjust elevation, resilient breath steady. Fire. The Barrett thundered, recoil absorbed by muzzle brake, eagle flying in her veins. Hit, enemy down, RPG shattered. Satisfaction surged, team below cheered faintly, convoy inching forward. Second, machine gun nest, crosswind tweaking. Agitate lingered, another bullet whizzed close, sweet Chet as she repositioned. Thorne covered, firing suppression. Like Jamal taught you. Solution built, shot true, nest silenced, team advancing. If this twist shocks you, like the video and comment twist. Third, sniper spotter on ridge, 100 meters. Frustration ebbed as precision flowed, drop calc refined, wind hold off. Boom, target eliminated, eagle soaring internally. Vance, you're saving us. Fourth, vehicle-mounted threat, 1,300 meters anti-material. Near-death spike. RPG inbound, exploding nearby, shrapnel nicking her arm. Agitate max, blood trickling but Thorne bandaged quickly. Fight through, like he did. Solution, fire, engine block pierced, vehicle halted. Fifth, lead commander figure, evasive at 1,200 meters. Wind steady, final calc, hold high, breath out. The shot roared, eagle fully flying, hit center, enemies scattering. Satisfaction complete. Team regained control, convoy safe, no further casualties. Thorne nodded, respect dawning. You did what I couldn't. From agitation's depths, prejudice's near-fatal grip to solution's triumph, Aisha stood reborn, father's secret not just saving her, but redeeming the past. The Barrett's echo faded into the valley, smoke curling from the barrel as enemies scattered like shadows at dawn. Aisha lowered the rifle, her shoulder throbbing but spirit unbroken. Thorne stood beside her, his grizzled face etched with newfound respect, a far cry from the commander who'd once dismissed her. Kane, he said, voice gruff but sincere, you just saved the convoy. No casualties beyond the sim. That's unprecedented in Korengal conditions. Satisfaction washed over her. From the brink of expulsion to turning the tide, her shots not just hits but statements against the prejudices that had nearly broken her. Below, the team regrouped, radios alive with awe. Vance climbed up first, clapping her on the back. You did it, Aisha. Those eyes, sniper through and through. Even Rico approached, his smirk gone, replaced by reluctant nods. Didn't think a medic could… well, damn. Teammates changed in that moment, from seeing her as the dark-skinned outsider to the one who'd bridged healing and fighting. Whispers shifted, she's one of us now. No more little sister jabs, instead gratitude in their eyes, a quiet acknowledgement that prejudice had blinded them, costing lives like Johnson's. Just as satisfied, Aisha's victory wasn't just tactical, but a crack in the systemic walls her father had fought. Thorne pulled a challenge coin from his pocket, engraved with an eagle in flight, wings spread resiliently. This was meant for ceremony, he said, placing it in her palm, the metal cool and heavy. But you earned it here. Like Jamal would have. The coin's symbol mirrored her tattoo, a loop reinforcing the message, strength rises above chains. Aisha closed her fingers around it, feeling a weight lift, her father's secret not a burden, but a legacy redeemed. Thorne's apology lingered unspoken, but his gaze said enough, old biases confronted, a path to change begun. The team descended together, no longer divided, her presence a pillar. But the road back isn't over. Who is the insider? But the road back isn't over. Who is the insider? The ridge descent felt like victory's afterglow, the team weaving down Korengal's treacherous paths, convoy secured and silence replacing gunfire. Aisha walked amid them, eagle coin heavy in her pocket, Thorne at her side in uneasy truce. Vance flanked her, murmuring, "That was legendary, Kane." Even the air seemed lighter, the 50-degree heat easing as dusk painted the valley in amber. But unexpected challenges lurked on the journey home, back to base, where debriefs awaited and shadows of betrayal lingered. Agitation stirred anew as radios hummed with post-mission chatter. Position leak confirmed, a coordinator announced. Internal source. Aisha's pulse quickened. The insider question seeded earlier, now blooming into confrontation. Vance pulled her aside near a Humvee. It's Rico. Logs show he delayed intel relays, funneled cords suspiciously. His bias? It wasn't just talk. Minor twist revealed. Rico, the smirking sniper whose prejudices had undermined her from day one, exposed as the leak. Not outright treason, but sabotage rooted in racism. Refusing to trust a dark-skinned woman, costing Johnson's life and nearly the mission. Final agitation erupted as Aisha confronted him at the base edge. Rico stood defiant, arms crossed, the team circling tensely. You? She demanded, voice steady but edged. All those mocks, you're kind. And you leak positions? Johnson's dead because of you. Rico snarled back. I didn't trust you leading shots. A medic like you? Diversity hire gone wrong. Frustration flared, his words a last gasp of the prejudices she'd shattered. Agitation spiking as fists clenched, the group murmuring unrest. Thorne stepped in. Stand down, both. But Rico, you're done. Justice edged closer, but wounds reopened. Aisha's mind flashed to Jamal's fate, similar biases dooming him. Yet father's words looped to help forgive. Resilient breath overcomes the desert wind, not with anger, but understanding. She exhaled, seeing Rico's fear beneath the hate, echoes of a broken system. You're out, she said calmly, but learn from this. We all can. Agitation eased into resolve, the road back a path of uneasy healing. The base loomed, but closure beckoned. A resurrection from the ashes of prejudice. Aisha entered the debrief room. The team assembled in tense silence, the air thick with unspoken reckonings. Thorne stood at the front, his usual stoic facade cracked, eyes meeting hers with vulnerability she'd never seen. Rico slunk in the back, cuffed and sidelined, his exposure a quiet storm still rippling. But Aisha felt reborn, the eagle coin in her pocket a talisman of victory. Her inner wounds scarring into strength. Sweet twist unfolded as Thorne cleared his throat, addressing the group but locking gaze on her. Kane, Aisha, I was wrong. About you, about Jamal. My biases, rooted in old systems, like those Wutu segregated units where good men were buried under color lines, led me astray. I apologize, not just for today, but for the legacy I perpetuated. His voice broke slightly, a commander humbling himself before his team. Murmurs rippled, Vance nodding approval, others shifting uncomfortably as truth sank in. Aisha's heart swelled, not with vengeance, but forgiveness's quiet power. Apology accepted, she said softly, but let's turn it into change. Satisfaction bloomed as she taught the team, stepping forward unbidden. Resilient breath overcomes prejudice, she shared, echoing her father's mantra with a twist. It's not about color or gender, it's the steady pulse beside you, trusting beyond what you see. She demonstrated, a quick lesson on ballistics basics, adjusting for wind as metaphor for biases. Calculate the drop, hold for the gust, adapt or miss the mark. The room absorbed it, Rico's head bowed in defeat, others leaning in. Thorne added, she's right. From now on, we train as one, medics, snipers all. In the med bay later, ultimate satisfaction. A sniper glove hung on the door, pristine and symbolic, with a handwritten note, the eagle flies with us. No signature, but the team's gesture. Gloves from Vance, perhaps Thorne, sealed her victory over prejudice. Aisha touched her tattoo, reflecting on Jamal's legacy. Not death by bias, but life through resilience. Reborn, she stood taller, the final twist sweet. A divided unit resurrected into unity. The eagle flies with us, a symbol now etched in the team's collective spirit. A resurrection not just for Aisha, but for all who dared challenge the chains of prejudice. In her simple quarters that night, under the dim glow of a field lamp, Aisha opened her journal, the wooden box beside her spilling relics of the past. Father's notebook, torn glove, faded photo. She wrote with steady hand, varying Jamal's words into her own elixir. Resilient breath overcomes not just the wind, but the walls we build between us. Today I healed with a needle and fought with a bullet, not to divide, but to unite. Strength lies in seeing beyond skin, beyond roles, in the shared pulse of humanity. This grand message, her elixir returned, wasn't hoarded but shared. The next week, during a combined tactical med drill, Aisha was requested as lead instructor, not as hero, but teacher. Young recruits, diverse faces mirroring her own struggles, gathered under the Nevada sun. Resilience isn't born, she educated, demonstrating wind adjustments on a mock Barrett. It's forged. In exclusion's fire, in bias's storm. Calculate the drop. GT2. Adapt for gusts. But true aim, it's trusting the breath beside you, regardless of color or creed. She wove in stories. Two segregated soldiers rising despite discrimination, her father's legacy of quiet defiance. Values poured forth, discipline over division, empathy as armor, transmitting motivation to overcome. A recruit, dark-skinned like her, nailed a shot after her guidance. How'd I do? Aisha smiled. You flew. Education on resilience rippled outward, the channel's spirit embodied, inspiring communities to confront inequalities, fostering unity through stories of triumph. Humanistic depth shone, reminding viewers that personal wounds heal societies, that one voice can echo change. In the quiet dawn, Aisha stood on the base edge, watching an eagle soar against the horizon, wings cutting free. How will you fly? If this message touches you, like, subscribe, comment where you're watching from, and the time. Share to spread equality.